Ladies and gentlemen, this is David Mirikitani with another episode of Weighing In. We're brought to you by Nike Wrestling. Go to athleteps.com. Get your Christmas presents. Get your early Thanksgiving presents, which you can leave a note for, and they will arrive after Thanksgiving. Resolite.com. Get your home match, your plyometric boxes, your mats for the gym, and pureandclean.us. Get the best cleaning products so you can wear your Nike products and get on those Resolite mats and wrestle. Joined, as always, by Mark Ostrander, Grant Turner. Good morning, boys. I'd like to start with a pretty significant thing, GT, that you told me was in the works when I saw you in Coralville, the Nike All-American team in partnership with Flow Wrestling. It came out, the announcement came out and who's on the team yesterday, but it's kind of a bigger picture thing. I'd love it if you'd give everybody the explanation of what you told us about, a couple months ago.
Well, I think the big thing is that, APS and Nike Wrestling has partnered with Flow to bring back what it was at the time, the A6 All-American team. If you guys were in a wrestling room anytime in like the 90s, early 2000s, all the way up until probably, I don't remember the last time that they made the poster, but we're bringing back that entity. So now there's a whole season of the preliminary rankings where this is preseason high school rankings. So this was the preseason All-American team, which they ended up posting all of the kids that were ranked number 1 in the nation leading into the high school wrestling season. And there's going to be kind of a follow the rankings throughout the entire year. And then at the end, recreate that poster that then would go out to, all of the people in the United States. So I think it's something that is a really cool undertaking that Flow and APS decided that they wanted to kind of, reinvest into the high school market and let those kids know that Nike and Flow are watching them and they appreciate what those kids are doing. So I just think that's a really cool idea that we, as a wrestler growing up, that thing was in every single wrestling room in the state of Iowa. It was in every single wrestling room. It was on the bulletin board. It was somewhere. Everybody was looking at that. So I think also just this is a great year to do it because the whole team is just stone cold killers that are on that preseason All-American number 1. Right. So I just think that's really cool to see. And once again, huge shout out to Flow Sports, Flow Wrestling, all the guys at Flow that are helping us kind of reinvent this. It's going to be a really cool property.
So I'm going to say a couple things and let Mark jump in here. First of all, there's an entire wing at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame that has these posters up. All three of us know that when we ran Hall of Fame duels, that's one of the things you walk through. And I wasn't on the first team, but I made that poster twice. And so that was a big deal to be on that. So my one question is, are you guys creating actual posters that will be in rooms, or are they going to be digital things that people can print off, or how is that going to work?
I don't necessarily know if we finalized that. I think that everything is going to be a printable poster. I think it's actually going to be a physical poster that will probably come out at the end of the year. But there's going to be a digital footprint the entire season where you're going to be able to see all of that. But yeah, that whole thing is coming back. So I don't know if there's a way that we can maybe work with the National Wrestling Hall of Fame to have those continue on in that section. But it's definitely something that we wanted to increase our visibility to the high school market.
I appreciate you not saying that the years I was on it was on parchment paper or scrolls or tablets or anything like that. So I appreciate the kindness this morning, Grant, and in the spirit of Thanksgiving, thank you for that. Mark, thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's neat that it's coming back because I don't remember. I was never on it, which is probably a shock to both of you guys because I think I've probably wrestled both of you at one time or another. But anyway, Grant in a bar and David, I don't know where. But what I think is really cool is that we used to use it as a recruiting tool. We used to go through it and look at the names because back then we didn't have social media. We didn't have the high school rankings as much as we do now. Everything's just blasted right now. And the high school kids are doing such a great job. I mean, they're so talented. They're making world teams as juniors in high school, senior level. It's nuts. So it's kind of cool that they're bringing it back, and I'm glad Nike's right out front doing it, and that's kind of neat. The only thing I do have to say is I think Drayshawn Ross is going to be at 215 this year for Fort Dodge. He's not wrestling heavyweight because they have a sophomore that plays second at Fargo, and they want to get him in the lineup, so Drayshawn's going to cut down to 215.
Well, I think if you look at most of the top rankings, they're basically the who's number one matchups. At as many weights as possible. They didn't have a 285 there, and then the 215 kid is ranked number one. But obviously, they're going off what these kids wrestled. I mean, Drayshawn was wrestling Kobe Merrill and those kind of guys at Fargo, Vegas, all that stuff. So, I mean, people will adjust. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Jax doesn't wrestle, what happens there. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too lost in the weeds, and I know you don't either, Mark. I think it's awesome. Okay. Like as somebody, all joking aside, GT, I know I'm older than you, but we were close enough the same age that we were on the, could have both been on the poster, and it was something you strived for. That one and the Wrestling USA one that came out when there was seniors only, and there was the dream team, the academic dream team, and then the All-Americans from each state. And I was lucky enough to make that one. And that was a big thing. Like somewhere in my house, I still have a copy of that poster. And I think they're bringing back a lot of nostalgia. And there's a lot of people that are, my age, Grant, your age, Mark's age, that know those posters. Whatever your role was in it, whether you're recruiting it, looking up to guys, lucky enough to be on it, whatever the case, it'll be a ton of really good publicity for Nike, Athlete PS, and Flow. I certainly don't know mailing costs and printing costs, but the rankings part is the easiest piece because they're already doing it. So getting it onto a poster would be, the data itself is sort of the easiest dive of it all. So congratulations to you and Shane and Eddie on getting that done, because that's an awfully big deal.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I think it's something that is just, it's a really, really interesting thing. It's fun. Yeah, I mean, once again, you guys are the ranking people. Once again, I remember there was multiple times where like guys were at different weights, but they still made the poster because they're like still like probably the number one guy at that weight class. So I remember, right. And then also like seeing the second team, the third team, the honorable mentions that are on there. There's so many different things for people to strive and to be recognized for their high school ability. So I think it's just a really cool thing to be able to kind of celebrate those kids.
A buddy of mine sent a group text to me and Lou Rosselli, and we were on the same poster one year. That was probably the last time I was ranked anywhere near as high as Lou Rosselli, but that was kind of a cool deal. So congratulations. Hopefully the hard copies are either, coming out at the end of the year, or there's like, you guys will promote like, hey, you can print here, do that kind of thing, even if it's an 8x11 that people can do on their computers or upload them, download them, whatever the case may be. So I think the other big topics, there's one fairly big transfer news, and then we'll talk about the upsets, and then CyHawk. So Carter Young left Oklahoma State and went to Maryland, and I think that's fairly significant. He's got one semester left. I think, Mark, you and I had talked offline, probably going to see a little bit more of this from Oklahoma State, as you start stacking that much talent, especially in those middle weights with the recruits they have coming in. It already looks complicated. It looks like guys are stacked up, and then you're going to add the Rainies and Jacks, and Tegan Jameson's coming back, and all these other guys. So I'm pretty good friends with Christina Young, and I'm good friends with Alex Clemson. So I thought it was cool to see that happen. What are your thoughts there, Mark? I mean, he gets to be in the Big Ten for a semester. Usually these guys go one of two ways, right? Either they go really hard and sprint, or, they're just kind of coasting in. But he's a guy that, lost his wrestle off at the end of last year. And if he has some hunger, he has some super high level freestyle wins, especially.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it on the freestyle side. I haven't seen it in the collegiate side yet with him, beating the top tier guys, but he's definitely capable of doing it. The only question I have, is he eligible second semester, transferring in first semester?
He's not transferring in first semester. He's transferring in at the semester. People should understand this is not the portal. The portal's only open in April for wrestling. This is because he's a graduate.
Okay.
So like a Teague Travis could do that. There's other kids across the country, but these are kids that I know. Like, and I know Teague was in Border Brawl. Okay.
Yeah.
So his uncle's a good friend of mine, and those kind of kids you get calls about. Like I got calls about Teague. I got calls about Carter. Because if you're a coach and you don't have a guy that you think is going to qualify for nationals, and you see these guys backed up, that's a real thing. I'm sure people are calling about Joe Seeley right now. So that's the thing. It's hard to keep all that talent. So the other thing that I talked to a couple coaches about, the 30-man roster is not a hard rule this year. So, if people are seeing those rosters, because we saw that GT, we had that really good program, paper copy program at the national duels, and we were counting names, or I was counting names. You were being cool. I was being a nerd, but I was counting names and counted over 30. So that's, I texted a couple coaches there and they validated that. So let's just kind of run through the upsets, and then we can talk briefly about team rankings. Flo does a great article every week on this. So shout out Flo and Andrew Spey. Upsets with difference in rankings of 20 or more. Sean Seafelt, Penn beat Ryan Burton. Caleb Rachi lost. Dylan Shaver lost. And Zeke Witt beat Trevor Anderson. Shaver's a former All-American. Caleb Rachi's the transfer. So those are fairly significant. And Ryan Burton looked really good early in the year. The next level of upsets, Gilcher loses. Jared Hill loses. Asher Cunningham beats Izeroff. Nate Desmond had himself a weekend, boys. He beat Cooper Flynn, and then he beat Luke Lillidow, and we'll talk quickly about that in the rankings. Jordan Titus, who's been ranked before, beat Eli Griffin. Connor Marisola is the backup and beat the number 20 guy by tech fall. Probably one of the more shocking ones that nobody's talking about, at least I haven't heard, is Tyler Klinsky from Ryder, and I don't even know who that guy is, no disrespect, beat Jet Strickenberger 20-11. Strickenberger won the Big 12s last year over Sparkplug, who made the NCAA final, so that's a pretty big upset as well. Paul Kelly, the freshman, beat Willishell. Shout out Poway High School. Most of these other ones are relatively low-key. PJ Duke gets an upset because he wasn't ranked, which is, kind of ridiculous. Probably the one I think we all saw was Deene beating Max Stout. So, Mark, you were right about Deene. Like, I watched the Bellarmine match. We talked about this earlier. Like, I owned it. But he's getting better. And you kind of had the ghost of Carver Hawkeye Arena, where Stout was up the one takedown. It used to be the 3-2 score. Now it's the 4-2 score. And just got taken down on the edge. The difference is now you can take that stalling call too with that 2-point margin.
Yeah.
And his feet just got heavy. Like, where do you see Deene now in terms of, like, very solid All-American, still round to 12?
I think I picked him to place on the top 8. I still kind of stand by that. It's a weight where there's a couple really, really good guys, and then it's a bunch of not that they're not really good. They're good, but I think he fits right into that second tier of studs. I think you have obviously Iowa State, and you have Penn State 1 and 2. Those are probably the 2 best kids. And then I think there's a gap, and I think Deane's right in that next level. Could place anywhere from, 3rd to 7th to 8th, round to 12. I'm not sure yet, but he does look a lot better than I thought he would this early in the year after his first duel.
Yeah, and GT, you live in that NAIA D3, D2 world, and he's an Iowa kid. I don't know if he's from an Iowa high school, but Iowa Lakes and that sort of thing. Like, I feel like it's a good, and Mark and I are JUCO guys. It feels like this kid doing well is kind of good for all the non D1 programs, just to show like, hey, our best guys, at least this early in the year, can compete at that level, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of have been watching. I think maybe Piles said this probably the best that anyone it is kind of on Mo in general. He's an oddity. Like, nobody really knows what he can and can't do because they've never really seen him at outside of like maybe the U23 national tournament really compete against those guys. And once again, freestyle is different than folk style. And once again, collegiate season is different. The Big Ten's a little bit different. So I think I'm going to be surprised all year because he's going to probably knock off some guys. He might lose maybe some matches that you might not think that he will lose. So, I mean, all of us, I think in wrestling, when it comes to like geographical locations, you're kind of pulling for all the guys that are kind of from neck of the woods, right? So like if anybody is at, Wartburg or Upper Iowa or Iowa State and, they hold the state, and I'm using Iowa as an example just because I live here, but we kind of all root for each other a little bit. I mean, not even outside of like, even in the same division.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you want good people to have good results. So I'm excited to see what Mo does throughout the season, but he's made a pretty good mark having the national duels, having some great wins there, and then knocking off Stout at home in kind of a dramatic fashion that's a pretty cool start to the season.
Yeah, and I would guess that Ostrander is going to pick him for the duel on Sunday. We'll see, but I could be wrong. But
That's the number 2 ranked kid in the country?
Yeah, you've never done that before, Mark.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see.
On.
We're going to put it on wax. So,
All
okay.
right.
Let's go through the rankings fairly quickly here, and we'll get to the picks. Okay, so we're just going to use Flow this week. We're still getting the updates at Matt King's. We just got to get them up in time for Tuesday morning. So 125, V-Rob and Luke Lillidow flip-flop, and Strickenberger drops from 9 to 11. Other than that, not a whole lot of movement. Trevor Anderson drops a bunch of spots, and then Mac Mauger beat Spencer Moore last night. That was an interesting duel. 33, Crookham is out, supposedly. So that kills Lehigh. Absolutely kills Lehigh.
He's out for the year?
Supposedly labrum.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. That's one of the things now about being where we are. We can just say things we've heard. And, I mean, we're not doctors. We don't have a doctor's note. But it seems, he's not wrestling. So, I mean, and it's a shame. Blaze is up to 7. That's a big deal. So, I mean, everybody bumped a spot, because of Crookham coming out. So that's a big thing. Tyler Knox continues to impress. Larkin comes into the rankings here. He beat Figs in a really interesting match at Arizona State. 41. No change in the top 16. 49. No change in the top 16. It was a super light week in terms of volume, especially in comparison to the national duels where GT and I saw complete mayhem. PJ Duke comes in. Number 9, looks like they have here dropped out, but that's really it. 165. No change in the top 10. Ryan Burton takes that loss and drops from 11 to 15. It's really just one tier, round of 12, round of 16. Nico Ruiz won a late match against Cody Rutledge, who's a true freshman who's just using one of his 5 dates. 74. Oh, and no Swiderski against Larkin at 149 this weekend, if people are paying attention. No change at 174. Geez, Mark, these are the kind of the weekends we used to just beg for doing the rankings.
Yeah.
Cartina Walsh took a loss, so he drops from 11 to 17. Jim McGill moves up from 16 to 20. So those are your results there. 97. So, and Deene goes from 8 to 4. Everybody drops down a spot. And that's pretty much it. But, I mean, it's certainly going to help Iowa when we go look at these team rankings here in a second. And then 285, no change. So you go to the team rankings. We will give our obligatory when this pops up. Iowa is ahead of Ohio State. This does not mean that the people at Flow Wrestling are stupid. It does not mean that they didn't watch the duel. What it means is that in an individual tournament, based on placement points only, where they have them ranked, they're 2.5 points apart or ahead. It's a half a point on the intermat side, so it's super close. I talked off air, Iowa won 65, 74, 84, all by overtime, 97. Keeter's not ranked as high as Feldman, but he's beaten him before. I don't think he's ever lost to Feldman, to be honest. So that would make the duel 5-5. And then there's other things like where Davino beat Ayala 3 takedowns to none, but they're just one slot apart. So very few point difference in the rankings. So you really got to dig in the weeds to be fairly nerdy about this. Iowa State's number 4 and Iowa's number 2. And also, if you look at Lehigh, they're now in, it looks to me, guys, like there's 7 teams. So if you're only listening to this and not watching, I'll read it off. I'm going to just drop the half a points. Penn State 119, Iowa 100, Ohio State 97, Iowa State 78, Oklahoma State 72, North Carolina State 61, Nebraska 60, and then there's a 20-point drop-off. So it feels like there's 7 teams fighting for 4 trophies. Mark, I'll ask you this. If you had to pick your 4 trophy teams, obviously Penn State, who are your other 3 trophy teams?
Ohio State, Iowa.
So you got those
right now.
Well, not right now. What do you think is going to happen in March?
That's right now. That's what. Well, I don't know what Oklahoma State's going to do at 33, David. If Jax comes out, I'm going to put them in the top 4. And I'm going to have to drop one of those other teams. I'm just not sure which one. I want to watch the Iowa State duel. It'll give me a little more clarity on, how they match up.
Fair. GT, top 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would probably keep it kind of the same right now. Once again, I think I would agree with Mark. Like the Iowa State duel is going to give you a lot more clarity on kind of those teams in general and seeing where they're at in the country, because we didn't get the chance to see Iowa State at the national duels. We did get to see Iowa. So Iowa's got a lot more, I would say, firepower in like being able to wrestle some of those ranked opponents. So they kind of like truly feel like, number 2, number 3 in the nation. And I think Ohio State wrestled really well as a dual meet team, but they have a lot of guys that are kind of on that bubble between, top 5 and 10, where they're really hard. They're really hard outs at a lot of different weights. But, you have guys that are like, Davino, Fishback, that are like in that 6 to 8 range.
Kardslow.
Yeah. So
probably Brandon Cannon.
All those
like that. Yeah.
Right. So then I think also to Mark's point, which is a great point, like what does Oklahoma State do at some of those weight classes where they have a little bit of, some influx, right? So they've wrestled Ronnie Ramirez. He still has some dates left. We have Richie Figueroa that's won at the Arizona State duel. We have Jax Forrest that basically could be coming in. And once again, I think also between those 3 teams, they're pretty well secure there. But remember that Nebraska had a heck of a tournament last year.
Yeah.
And wrestled extremely well all the way up to, a trophy placement. So, they didn't look as sharp at national duels, but which is probably reflected in the rankings. But there's a lot of Big Ten season left for Nebraska to make another push to get back up into that kind of team trophy ranking.
And Nebraska hosts Oklahoma State in 3.5 weeks. So, you'll see rematches probably like Rabidou, Antrell, Hardy Vega's one I think we're all going to be watching. That's one where Hardy could jump right back up in the rankings. One of my friends said something interesting. He was talking about the freshman at Oklahoma State, and he just said, it's a long season. And he said, these high school kids aren't used to wrestling this long and not wrestling as many hard matches. And he said, I'm really impressed by them, but it'll be interesting to see if they can stay where they are all season. So just something to keep an eye on there. All right, let's go to the duel. Okay. Thank you to our friends at Matt King's. These are the rankings from last week, but nothing changes except Deene moves up. So not really sure it matters too much because he doesn't move up past Rocky. So let me read these off, and then we will get to the picks. Steve-O Poulin is ranked 9th. Dean Peterson is ranked 7th. Evan Frost is ranked 7th. Drake Ayala is ranked 4th. Anthony Echemendia 5. Nasir Bailey 8. Paniro Johnson 3. Ryder Block 14. Vinny Zerban 3. Jordan Williams 9. Connor Otton, the only guy ranked outside of the top 15 at 24. Mikey Caliendo 3. MJ Gaitan 13. Patrick Kennedy 2. Isaac Deene 10. Ferrari 1. Rocky Elam 2. And Deene is now 4. And Bastida is 1. And Keeter is 6. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 single-digit ranks. And then a 10, a 13, and a 14. So the duel is bonkers. I have some overall thoughts, but I'm just going to wait till we get there. Let me draw this up, and then we'll get to our picks. Marco, do you want to start us at 25, I guess?
I can. I'm going to take Dean Peterson over Steve-O Poulin. And the only reason I know Steve-O beat him at Nationals last year, I think Dean's had better competition this year. And I think he's going to be a little bit more prepared for this match because Steve-O hasn't really wrestled anyone yet, high caliber at all. So I'm going to take Peterson by decision over Poulin.
So we'll do this. I have it written down, Mark, Grant, David. So we'll just rotate it. GT, you go second, I'll go third, and then GT, you can start the next weight, etc. So who you got?
I'll take Steve-O in a close one. I think, once again, Mark referenced that like Steve-O had beat Peterson last year. Just as a screw in the whole thing, I think Steve-O just like, I hope that he comes out and is in shape because Peterson looks like he's pretty already tested and he's in really good shape. So I'll take Steve-O just as just as he already beat him previously. That's the only reason that I'm basically taking him. That's the only reason.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I really want to pick this dual 5-5, so I'm probably going to have to, but I think I'm going to end up picking at 6-4 Iowa. So I'm going to take, and this is the one. I think I'm going to be really chalky the rest of the way. I've got Peterson, and it's really for the reason Mark said. I think it's weird, though, because Peterson didn't look good the other night in the duel. He didn't really look good in the Bellarmine duel. I think I'm picking Peterson. You know what? I'm going to pick Poulin. I'm going to pick Poulin. But if I am picking Peterson, it would be based on the Spratley match. So, all right, GT 33, Frost or Ayala.
I think I'll take Drake in this one. I know that they have a lot of history together. It's always a very close match. But I think just Drake has a lot of gamesmanship, and I think he also raises his level in this duel. I just think that he comes out a little bit more prepared for this match, I think. But I'll take Drake by decision.
I will as well. I think it's been documented here and other places. They are club teammates, sort of a big brother thing going on there. I think this is Ayala's last CyHawk Dual, unless there's an eligibility situation I'm unaware of. So and also this duel is at Iowa State. So, maybe that's why I'm picking Poulin as well, but I'm going to take Drake. Mark?
Yeah, this is a tough one because Evan hasn't really wrestled a lot at 33 yet this year. He wrestled in a tournament, and he wrestled they didn't wrestle finals because it was him and Echemendia were in the finals at 41, if I'm not mistaken. So he may have troubles making a weight cut. With 2-hour weight cut and Drake's being in really good shape, it may show. So I'm going to go Drake, and I'm going to say he wins by a major.
Ooh, okay. You have him +1. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay. 41, Echemendia and Nasir Bailey. I'm going to take Echemendia. I think he's like, I know he lost to Mendez. I think he's better than Nasir on his feet. I think Iowa's really good at coaching. I think maybe they tell Nasir Bailey to pick top. And I think that's their path to victory. So I'm going to take Iowa State here, though. And for me, it's all decisions unless I say otherwise. Mark?
Yeah, I really want to take Nasir, but I think Anthony's just better on his feet. And Nasir really hasn't shown me much on his feet yet this year. He's wrestled guys that aren't near as talented as Anthony and struggled to win matches there. So I'm going to go Echemendia by decision.
GT, mark it down, 10:32 a.m., 11:25. First name Mark is officially back for the year. So, which it always makes it so much better. Big tone. Whenever we can get those in, it just makes me smile. I'm trying to be professional. And it's like he plays pinochle with these guys or something. It's so great. So, all right, who you got, Grant?
I'm going to take Echemendia by major.
Okay.
I think he gets one big move. I think he gets like either like a feet to back or something like that, or he presses the gas a little bit and sneaks out a major, like with a last second takedown. I just think that Echemendia is going to be amped for this one. I think it's one of those things that I think Nasir is extremely talented. And once again, I think as we talked at National Duels, it might be a situation where Nasir might have to pick top. Because I don't think a lot of people are going underneath him, and he's devastating if he gets cross wrist. So
yeah, for sure.
So that's why I'm going to take Echemendia in a match mostly on their feet. I just think that he has a little bit more offense to go get a couple of them. So that's why I'm going to say that, just to throw a little wrench into everything. And once again, I'm going to come back with another major on the other side, so don't worry.
Yeah, and Kevin Dresser, if you're listening, if they go out of bounds and Echemendia is on top, just do the 2 hands up sign. Don't even try to ride. That's how you lost to Parco last year. Just say neutral, let them go, both up, whatever. Free coaching tip. All right, Mark, we're back to you. Paniro, Ryder Block. To me, this is a very interesting match. Complete stylistic opposite. Paniro really quick and darty to the legs. Ryder Block wants to put you in the funk and the scrambles. Will probably try to win this match on riding time, like he did against like a Josh Edmond. And this is also GT's finalist pick, so for the Nationals. So who you got here, Mark?
Yeah, this is an interesting match for me just because Paniro's keeps everything really close. And that's kind of, I think he's better. I think he's probably quite a bit better athletically than Ryder Block, but Ryder Block is actually a dog on a bone. That guy just doesn't quit, and he'll keep coming at you. And I like where he's at right now. So this is going to be my big upset, probably one of my big upsets. I'm going to take Ryder Block over Paniro.
I'm surprised you don't have it 60-0 Iowa, honestly.
I don't know why you feel that, David. I think Iowa State's really good this year.
You pick Iowa to win this duel every time. You've been right every time, but I'm saying you pick Iowa every time.
Okay.
All right, GT.
I'm taking Paniro by decision.
Okay.
I really think that Ryder Block is so much more comfortable at 149. I think he's looking way better.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing too is that Ryder he's very good on top, and I think Paniro he needs to get out like quickly. I think where Paniro can be super effective, and I've kind of been on him the entire season, is that he's one takedown away from beating everybody. So if Ryder gets it all the way down to the third period and Paniro needs to go get one, I have a lot of faith that Paniro will go and try to get it. But also Paniro is not afraid to go overtime and all the way to rideouts if he has to. We're just all frustrated because we know that he can score 1 billion points if he wants to. But
I actually talked to him about that one year at Nationals. He goes, I'm working on it, trying to get myself to pull the trigger more, but you're absolutely right. Okay, 157, Vinny Zerban, Jordan Williams. I think the big thing for Iowa State, and I feel like we're saying this repeatedly, is they just haven't wrestled a whole lot of tough D1 competition yet. And Iowa was at the national duels and had duels with, Oklahoma State on the backside and with Ohio State on the front side. Both on the front side. Excuse me. They beat Oklahoma State in the semis and Iowa lost to Ohio State in the finals. Okay, having said that, GT, you're picking first here?
Yeah, so I think it'll be Vinny Zerban. I don't know if Jordan Williams will wrestle. I'm pretty sure that they would throw him out there rather than wrestling Voinovich. I think, once again, this is a decision match. I don't think this one goes too crazy. But I'll take Vinny Zerban in that particular match.
I'm going to take Zerban as well. And I am going to count the number of transfers when we're done with this, because it's a very high list as we're looking at these lineups. I have to pick Vinny. 1, I think he's going to win. 2, I was lucky enough to coach him some, and 3, he wrestled in border brawl 3 or 4 times. So, all right, Mark.
Well, here we go. I'm going to pick Vinny. Vincent Zerban to win. I just think he's better than Jordan Williams, and Jordan just hasn't impressed me. And I'm kind of on the idea also that he may not even be wrestling in this duel. They may be putting in the other guy.
Are we all saying that if it's Voinovich, are we still picking decision, or any of us would bump to major? Because I think I would bump to major.
I would probably bump to a major.
GT?
I'll probably just keep it at a decision. Unless, I just think it's a decision either way. It probably it's hard to tell.
Yeah. All right. 165. I'm first here. Caliendo Otton. Grant, you and I texted about this match last year. You've been on Otton early. You had really good insight about him. It's interesting to me. It's interesting that this is how good this duel is, that he's the lowest ranked guy. And he's really good. But I don't think, even though Caliendo lost to Lockett, he's an elite wrestler, and I'm going to pick him. But I do think Caliendo or Otton will keep it within a decision. Mark?
Yeah, I agree on everything you said, David. I think Connor Otton is borderline All-American. I really do, if he wrestles well. But I think, Caliendo's he's just got another gear that very few guys at 165 have. And if he has to open up, he'll open it up to score. But I think it's going to be a great match through the first 2 periods. And then I think Michael kind of picks it up a little bit and wins by decision.
Okay. GT, same or something different?
Nope. I'm going to take Caliendo by decision. I believe in the duel last year is when Connor got hurt.
That is right.
And which I think was a great match up until that point. A lot of action. But I think Caliendo just, once again, I think we're all really big on him. And I think he gets lost in kind of how elite he's been over the past 3 years. I got a lot of respect for Caliendo and what he does. So definitely going to take that one for a decision. But I think Connor Otton comes out and proves that he's right next to that tier.
Yeah, and that's sometimes that's how you look at it, right? I remember when Pat Glory lost to Spencer Lee, and we're like, he looks good, and he got tapped. So sometimes you can lose to a really good guy, and it's sort of the first sign that you're leveling up. Okay, Mark, it's back to you. PK, Gaitan. We'll try to. Well, we're good on time. I assume you have PK. Do you have him just by decision, or do you think he goes?
I do have PK. Last time they wrestled, PK got up, I think, by 11 points in the first period. I thought
that was 2 years ago when he almost had a heart attack.
Yeah, then he fell off the mountain head first and barely won.
No, hands first because he didn't lose. He held in there.
It was something I'd never seen before, but I think Patrick Kennedy is just better, and I think he wins by a major.
Okay. GT.
Well, this is the beauty of Gaitan's game is that dude could lose by 14 or he could get a fall. So I think that what we've seen from PK is that he's solid, stingy, and he continues to show that he's just who he is all the time. He's wrestled some really tough competition already this year. I think it's going to be Patrick Kennedy by decision, but I think it gets interesting. Kind of where this is where I'd probably interject and say, like, where are we going to start this duel? Is it going to start at 25?
Yeah. Because let's talk about that. Because if you look at the colors here, right? Like we talked about this at like the national duels, GT, like in the finals. Like if that duel in the final starts at 65, it feels a lot different, right? Like Iowa goes overtime, and Deene wins. And now they're up 12-0. And even if they forfeit heavyweight, it's still 12-6. And you're like, oh, well, Deene Peterson can win. And Drake Ayala can win. And if they did, it would put it out of reach. Conversely, Ohio State just got up and boat raced them. One of us was chirping that the duel was over after 133. But, we don't have, we'll talk about that another time. But, yeah, I mean, but they usually start this duel at 25, right? I mean, yeah. Okay, 84. So that's my pick. Ferrari, Deene. Deane's the transfer, round of 12 guy. Wrestled Plot really close a year ago at CKLV. I'd really like to pick Ferrari by major. And I feel like it depends if he can get one in the first period. Like if he thinks he can get one, he's going to get one. So I'm going to say no in Hilton, but I am going to pick him by decision. And actually, I skipped this. I'm sorry, but we'll just flip-flop back at 97. GT, you can go first. Sorry. Mark, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take Ferrari by decision. He just hasn't opened up yet. Maybe he will this weekend because he's so talented on his feet, but he's keeping everything really low-key, trying not to ever get in a bad position. I don't think he's been taken down this year. I think that's a big thing to him, never giving up a takedown. So I don't think he's going to let it fly, but I think it's going to be a very comfortable decision. And I think if he's close, he might go out and get it right at the end, but I haven't seen it yet this year on him, so I'm just going to say decision.
All right, GT?
I'll take Ferrari by decision. I just went back and looked at Deane's bracket from last year. I think out of the 4 matches that he wrestled, 3 of which were overtime. So I think like giving him a little bit of credit to keep things close with Ferrari is kind of where my head is. I think that we all know how great Angelo is and how offensive he can be. I just have a little bit of faith that, Deane's going to keep it close and try to sneak one or, have that match just be a 1 takedown match if he can. That would be a huge win for Iowa State because you have the number 1 ranked guy in the nation coming in. You'd expect bonus out of that guy, but hopefully if you just have a decision there, it helps the Iowa State cause. But once again, if they need Ferrari to go get a major and the duel is kind of maybe out of reach at that point in time, you could see Ferrari cranking it up a little bit more.
Yeah. 97 GT, I flip-flopped on you, so you go first here, please. Rocky against Deene.
I like Rocky Elam in this match. I think Mo is wrestling extremely well. But I just have a lot of faith in Rocky Elam. Once again, I haven't seen him wrestle this year. And then I've seen Deene wrestle 10 matches or 8 matches already.
Feels like a lot, yeah.
So once again, Rocky Elam is pretty talented wrestler.
Yeah.
I know we haven't seen him in a while, but that guy he's really good. So I'm just going to put a lot of eggs in the Iowa State basket on that one, just because he's he's that talented, but Mo's wrestling at a very, very high clip right now and has beaten, an All-American in the past week. So I'll just take Rocky Elam by decision.
I'll take Rocky as well. Again, another border brawl guy, Missouri guy. I think GT and I are almost forced to pick him at this point of the year. He was our national finalist, one of them. And I think Deene might get a takedown, and it might be a very interesting match. Like instead of a 4-2 kind of match, it may end up like a 7-5 kind of match where Rocky's got to go get 2. I do think where Rocky can win this match is riding. We saw that Deene struggle a little bit against the Bellarmine kid. Rocky's really long, really good with that strap ride, really good with that half spike ride. I think if it goes 0-0 first period, I would tend to favor Rocky on the mat wrestling. Mark, do you have Deene by fall here?
No, I actually have taken Rocky to win this match, and I'm going to take him by a major.
Ooh.
And the reason is Rocky's technique-wise, probably the best kid on Iowa State's team. He is so good, so solid on his feet. When he gets in on a single, you're taken down. I remember watching him take down Warner over and over again one match. It was just like Warner never wrestled before. And I know he can ride. And that's where Deane's issues are going to be this year. I still think Deane's going to be an All-American, but I don't think he beats Rocky. And I think Rocky makes a statement and wins by a major.
Okay. Mark, you're first here at heavyweight, Bastida, Keeter.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me because I really like Ben Keeter. I really do. But younger Bastida to me is probably the best kid in the country at heavyweight. So I'm going to go younger, but I'm going to make it a decision. And yeah.
Okay. Grant.
I don't know what we're going to see at heavyweight. I just want to make sure that we put that out there. I don't think Ben Keeter will wrestle. That's just my own personal opinion.
That's massive if that's true.
But if Ben does wrestle, I mean, I still think younger wins. I don't think it's quite a major decision. But if Ben Keeter does not wrestle, then it's either by tech or by fall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just think that if they wrestle, whatever it is, Marty or Fleshman, I think they just get a little bit more outclassed by younger.
Okay. And
he's a guy that can do it.
I've got Bastida. I mean, I would pick Bastida if Keeter was 100%, but I think it's a pretty safe pick with Keeter, even if he wrestles, coming off of injury. So a couple things I want to point out quickly.
Before we go any further, David, let me ask Grant something. Keeter did wrestle against Pitt. So he did get a match in after nationals. So
yeah,
have you heard something since then? Like he's not going to compete because they were up. I mean, they beat Pitt by.
They shut him out.
Yeah, shut him out, and they put him out there. And he looked good on top, and he rode hard and did what he does. But I just didn't know. I haven't heard anything, so I thought maybe you would heard something.
No, I think that like the level, and once again, I think just in general, I think for Keeter, like I think he will wrestle, but I'm just saying that like if he doesn't, for whatever reason,
okay,
I just think that it's
it's a big gap between younger.
Yeah, I think that's more of what I was trying to maybe say is that like there's a huge fall off between Ben and then the backups there. Once again, I mean, not to throw salt on it, but like once again, you have a guy that's ranked top 6 in the nation. You don't really have another guy that's ranked top 6 in the nation just holding itself off in the wings at heavyweight in most places in the Division I, right?
Yeah.
The only time that I've really seen that is like the two guys that were at NC State together. It's like, well, Owen Treffin and, Trumbull, like one of them had to transfer out because you're just not going to get another look at it. So
Well, Penn State does it at about 5 or 6 different weights. So,
But he's somewhat heavy, and he's
not
right.
heavy. No,
heavy,
not heavy.
heavy's a little bit difficult because it's a huge roster spot. Now, once again, it's Ben Keeter is a special talent, right? So we all know how good he is. But I just think that also Younger's bigger, like just flat out weighs more. I think he's just a little like heavier. So that's going to be, I think it's going to be a factor in some of those shots that Ben takes. So
Here's my last thing I'm going to say about this duel.
Mark, I got to add up the score. Like we got an hour. I got to go here. Okay. So first of all, transfers on the Iowa State side, Poulin, Echemendia, Zerban, Deene, and Elam. That's 5. Iowa has Peterson, Bailey, Jordan Williams, Caliendo, and then Deene. So 10 transfers. GT and I have it exactly the same on the picks. 6-4 Iowa State. He has bonus for Echemendia. I have bonus for Iowa at 74. So I have it 18-13. He has it 19-12. Mark has the same 8 matches, but he's got Iowa winning 25 and Iowa winning 49. So that flips it. And he's got Iowa with 2 bonus points and Iowa State with 1. So he has it 20-13 Iowa. So it feels like it's a 5-5 duel. I mean, if you look at it could be like Mark's team upsets me at 25 and my team upsets him at 33, and you get both individual picks wrong and you got the duel still right at 3-3 at that point. It just feels like a lot of that can happen. Where it starts is interesting. I mean, I think if you're Iowa, you'd want to start the duel at 65. I think if you're Iowa State, maybe you want to start the duel at 41, maybe at 97 if you don't think Keeter's healthy. But there's something about Bastida knowing what he has to do and Elam knowing what he has to do late that would help them. I'm sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think there's a real distinct possibility that you could see, and we had talked about this, David. Iowa bumping some kids around the lineup a little bit. Maybe moving Angelo up to 97 to wrestle Elam because he would be a problem with Elam would have troubles with somebody like a Ferrari. The way he darts in and out on that leg, he'd be harder to take down. He hasn't given up many takedowns. I think you could see, help me here, David.
Gabe
Arnold come in at 74 and possibly wrestle there, or 84. And move Angelo up.
We'd have to know what he weighed in at because he wrestled 84.
Yes.
So, I mean, if he weighed in at 175, then he can do it. But if he weighed in at 184, he can't do it. He did say he's going to end up challenging Kennedy, which we've seen that before. We've seen I'm going to wrestle off. I'm going to wrestle Carter Starachi, that stuff.
But I could see Iowa throwing a wrench in it, especially if things aren't going quite the way they anticipated early. They're good at pulling surprises. And Iowa State.
They did it 2 years ago.
Yeah. So.
Yep. And they did it last year with Ferrari. I mean, they did it 2 years ago against Iowa State and last year against Oklahoma State. All right. I wanted to get us going because Grant's got the very cool jacket on. We can talk about the subtle flex in another time, but this is 2 days before Thanksgiving. So I will go first. I just want to, a lot of blessings this year in my life. Blessed to be doing this again with you guys, 2 of my best friends who I love talking about wrestling to and with and playfully arguing. Respect both of you guys as people and your opinions immensely, and am proud to be a part of this. Mark?
Yeah, I'm just glad I got a year and a half left to work on the railroad. I'm thankful for that. Actually enjoy retirement maybe. Play a little golf again. I haven't done that in years. So, and, my grandkids, my family, big things to be proud of.
GT.
Yeah, just wishing everybody a very happy Thanksgiving time with friends and family. Just enjoy the time that you can with the loved ones that you do have. Be able to just relax for a little bit and enjoy the holiday week.
That's it. I will be at RAF this weekend, GT, so I won't see you Sunday, but I'll be watching. I know you'll be there. Should be a great duel. I think it's on ESPN or ESPN2 at noon on Sunday. Sort of must-watch television unless you have a lot of money on a football game. So for Grant and Mark, I'm David. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe, and happy Thanksgiving.